Hi, I'm Richard.
And I'm Margot.
And this is week 2 of level 1, or the Balboa Basics Fundamentals series at Wednesday Night Hop, October 2014.
Yep.
This week we started out with a little bit about history, and then we moved into the Maxi Basic.
This is different from the one that we did last week.
We did what's sometimes called the Uphold Basic or Double Time. And the pattern for this, instead of a step, together, walk, was a step, step, gather, step. So we talked about doing a step, step, gather, step, 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 gather, step.
We talked about keeping our footwork nice and small, in towards our center, not spread out towards our shoulders, and also nice and compact moving forward and back. We also talked about the idea of having our feet in a V shape so that we're staggering our toes and we're not stepping on our partner.
And then we partnered up and did this together. We maintained this nice connection the same way we did last week. We did a step, step, gather, step, 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 gather, step, step, gather, step, 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 gather, step. There's a little bit of a lilt on the gather from side to side, but for the most part, we're staying upright and just shifting our weight back and forth between one side and the other.
I talked about the idea of keeping our footwork more or less under ourselves until our lead moves forward or backward. That'll make it a lot easier for you to feel when your lead decides to gather versus step down. Yep.
After that, we did the beginnings of some ad-lib steps. We talked about the quarter turn in the basic, and the movement for this for the leaders was a step, step, quarter turn, step, step, gather, step.
When Richard's turning on this quarter turn, he's turning his body and his left foot to his left side.
And the idea is you can do this either in an uphold or in a downhold. This week we learned it in an uphold pattern, so step, step, gather, turn, step, step, gather, step. From
And
the
with
back it looks like this: step, step, gather, step, 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 gather, step.
And with a partner,
got a step, step, gather, step, 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 gather, step, step, gather, step, 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 gather. One more time: step, step, gather, step, 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 gather, step. We then used that quarter turn as the launching pad for some rotational ad-lib steps, and the ones that we taught tonight were the paddles. Paddles continuously in a counterclockwise direction, but switching feet back and forth. So we did the quarter turn to lead into it, step, step, quarter turn, and then kept our weight leads on this left foot the whole time and paddled around, paddle, step, paddle, step, paddle, step, as many times as you want, and then did a weight shift over to the right so that the weight is on the other side, and continued paddling in the same direction and shifted back and finished it up with the second half of basic: step, gather, step.
all of us worked on the idea of keeping our weight over one foot and using the free foot to turn us. And we only went in a counterclockwise movement tonight. But your challenge for next week is to try moving in the other direction. Oh, yeah. So find a spot when you do a weight change to consider going in the opposite direction and move clockwise instead. It's going to feel a little bit weird, but it adds a little bit of extra variety to the number of moves that you can do.
And we partnered up and we were doing the paddles. And again, we did a regular basic: step, step, gather, step, 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 gather. Then used a quarter turn to get into it. Quarter turn, paddle, step, paddle, step, paddle, step. Weight shift, paddle, step, paddle, step, paddle, step. Weight shift in the second half of basic, gather, step, and right back into our regular basic. And that was what we did for week 2.
Yep.
Come back next week, and we'll do a little bit more rotational movements and work from there.
See ya.